Thanks for joining us for CBN News Today. I'm Ephraim Graham.
And I'm Charlene Israel. Jury deliberations are set to begin in the trial of the Muslim extremist charged with a massacre at Fort Hood in Texas. It was the worst mass murder on a U.S. military base in history, leaving 14 people dead, including an unborn baby. The trial has gotten very little major media coverage. Mark Martin has the update.
When it came time to defend himself, Major Nidal Hassan refused to put up a fight.
Well, he just came in and said the defense rests. He didn't provide any case at all. He didn't call any witnesses. He didn't offer up any evidence.
Hassan is charged with the murder of 13 people and the attempted murder of 32 more at Fort Hood on November 5, 2009. 14 actually died that day because one of the women he admits to shooting was pregnant. An eyewitness testified she heard Private Francesca Velez pleading with Hassan. The witness says she heard Velez say, my baby, my baby." Then there was a shot and her voice stopped. During the trial, Hassan admitted the evidence would clearly show he was the shooter. He described himself as a soldier who had switched sides, and he told the military jury he was a mujahideen, an Islamic fighter engaged in a religious fight. Hassan allowed his civil attorney to hand a report to the New York Times, which showed he told military mental health workers he could still be a martyr if convicted and executed by the government. But Hassan denies claims he's trying to get a death sentence. Meanwhile, many victims and their families are suing the government because they say political correctness kept the military from stopping Hassan. Observers say for whatever reason, the military missed the warning signs.
I do compare this to the Boston bombing, that there are facts there that could have prevented it, that the FBI had, that did not share with the Boston police. And I think that a lot of the people that saw his radical behavior were not reporting it to the proper authorities, or those that did receive the information did not want to handle it for whatever reason. And it is disappointing.
Mark Martin, CBN News.
UN investigators are on the ground in Syria waiting to examine new allegations that Syria's government is using chemical weapons on rebels and on innocent civilians. It's a so-called red line President Obama once warned would force the U.S. to act. Chris Mitchell has the story.
The international community is calling for clarity in the case of fresh allegations that the Syrian regime is using chemical weapons against rebels and civilians.
This represents, no matter what the conclusions are, a serious escalation with grave humanitarian consequences and human consequences.
Syrian regime forces fired intense artillery and rocket barrages Wednesday into the eastern suburbs of Damascus in what some claim was a poisonous gas attack that killed hundreds of people, including many children.
Human Rights Watch has spoken today to 10 residents from Eastern Ghouta, including 2 physicians. The residents consistently told us about field hospitals in the area being overwhelmed with civilians that were suffering from a range of symptoms, including nausea, suffocation, foaming at the mouth, and dilated pupils.
Amateur video showing shocking images appeared to show the effects of a gas attack on civilians. The Syrian regime called claims of a chemical attack absolutely baseless. In March this year, President Obama suggested that the use of chemical weapons might force the U.S. to intervene in the Syrian civil war.
To use potential weapons of mass destruction on civilian populations crosses another line, and that is going to be a game changer.
A reporter later pressed the White House about the comment.
Jay, did the president mean it when he said use of chemical weapons would be a game changer in Syria?
Yes, he did.
So what does that mean?
The president made clear the use of or the transfer to terrorist groups of chemical weapons by the Assad regime would be crossing a red line.
Middle East expert Walid Faraz said any U.S. or Western intervention would be complicated.
Reality is that Syria is not anymore a national battlefield, as was the case in Libya's civil war, because the regime there is supported by the Iranian regime, by the Iraqi government in some sort of fashion, and also by Hezbollah, which is fighting inside Syria. There's a whole alliance. And of course, the opposition is backed by Turkey, by Qatar, by other Arab countries. The most concerning thing about the opposition is infiltration by Al-Qaeda.
Faraz told CBN News any U.S. action would have to consider the regional elements. For now, he said, the international community could try to set up security zones for refugees fleeing the fighting. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Former Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak moves one step closer to freedom today, and his release could fuel the unrest already gripping the country. The military-appointed government ordered the deposed leader be freed from jail and placed under house arrest. He also agreed to return or pay the value of gifts he received from state news organizations while in office. The 85-year-old is still expected to appear in court next week for a separate trial. He faces charges of complicity in the killing of protesters in 2011 uprising, which could send him back to jail.
The National Security Agency's internet surveillance program has been more widespread than officials have publicly said. Wednesday, the Obama administration admitted it was ordered to stop collecting thousands of internet communications from Americans with no terrorist connections. The Wall Street Journal reports the NSA has built a surveillance network that can reach roughly 75% of all U.S. internet traffic. The network is designed mainly to look for international communications, but it's also collecting domestic conversations and emails as well. Officials say the NSA isn't just going through online discussions, but mainly looking for important information.
A San Antonio high school that kicked out a student who refused to wear an ID badge with a computer chip will now allow her to return. Last fall, Andrea Hernandez refused to wear the badge. It uses radio frequency identification technology to track students. Hernandez said it violates her religious liberty, reminding her of the biblical mark of the beast. The school district said the badges helped count students and increased state funding. The Northside Independent School District has now decided to scrap the RFID program and allow Hernandez to return to her magnet school.
A wildfire is burning out of control, threatening Yosemite National Park. It is just one of 50 large wildfires raging in the western U.S. Over the past year, more than $1 billion federal dollars have been spent battling fires. Right now, nearly 18,000 crews are fighting the wildfires burning uncontained in western states. In California, one fire is threatening the outskirts of Yosemite National Park, forcing the evacuation of camps and nearby homes.
It's terrifying how unpredictable it is and how fast it's moving. I don't even know what to think anymore, really.
And for the first time in 5 years, the National Interagency Fire Center has raised America's wildfire preparedness level to its highest tier.
The Philippines' capital is underwater. Torrential rains brought massive flooding to Manila this week. Government offices, banks, schools, and shops throughout the city of 12 million are closed. Tens of thousands have found shelter in more than 200 evacuation centers. CBN disaster relief teams are there as well. Lucille Talusan reports from Laguna.
Metro Manila and surrounding provinces were paralyzed because of heavy flooding. Torrential rains induced by Typhoon Trami submerged 60% of the capital region, even turning main highways into rivers, forcing both government and private offices to close, including the U.S. Embassy. More than 600,000 people were affected by the disaster. 1/3 of these people fled to evacuation centers, but there were those who chose to remain in their flooded homes.
Despite the danger of being trapped in the flood waters, the residents here, which number about 1,000 families, opted to stay in their homes. They say they are not comfortable in the very cramped evacuation centers.
But for Lorena and her 1-year-old son, this space at the corner of a school gym is refuge for them.
It was my birthday yesterday, and I am just so sad with our situation. But we had to flee our house because the water was already up to my neck. It's my wish that this flooding will never happen again, not only for me, but for all of us who are now suffering.
This school that's been turned into an evacuation center houses 200 families. Among them are CBN's beneficiaries of the Bless a Child program. 5-year-old Angel is one of them. She was malnourished, weighing only 9 kilos before joining the feeding program. After 3 months, she now weighs 14 kilos. Her grandmother, Natividad, is thankful because Angel has become stronger to endure their present condition. Natividad is also happy that the CBN disaster relief team brought food, mats, and blankets for them and their neighbors.
First of all, I thank God and I thank people like you who come to comfort us and help us. It really means a lot because of all the hardships that we face.
She's also grateful to her pastor, Teresa Pastera, who has partnered with CBN to meet not only the spiritual needs of their community, but their physical needs as well. CBN has deployed several disaster relief teams to the affected areas to distribute food, mats, and blankets to the flood victims. Medical assistance and livelihood trainings will also be conducted in the days ahead to ease their suffering and help them recover from the disaster. Lucille Talusan, CBN News, Laguna, Philippines.
A Christian family was attacked by Hindu extremists in Rajasthan, India. 4 men went to a pastor's house looking for him and his wife. When they didn't find Pastor Bell and his wife, they attacked and seriously injured his mother. They told her they had to convert to Hinduism or they would all be killed and cut to pieces. As the 2014 general election approaches, Hindu extremists have increased their attacks against the Christian minority in the region. They hope inciting society against Christians can help them to get votes.
Christians facing persecution in the Republic of Sudan are being flown out of the country. The Barnabas Fund, a ministry to the persecuted church, has already delivered more than 5,000 Christians from Sudan. Fox News reports the ministry aims to fly another 3,400 out in coming days. The Republic of Sudan is 98% Muslim and ruled by Sharia law. President Omar al-Bashir has vowed to create a 100% Islamic constitution. The Christians are being taken to South Sudan, a new nation founded by Christians and Black Africans seeking freedom from the Islamic regime in Khartoum.
Coming up, the secret strategy to convert America into a pro-gay culture. See the shocking report that exposed the gay agenda more than a decade ago.
Today we're on a field trip to discover what inflation is doing to our paper money. In this hand is a $20 bill, and in this hand is a $20 U.S. gold coin. They used to have the same buying power, but how much can they buy today? In this first basket is what my $20 bill buys: milk, bread, peanut butter, and jelly. And here's what one $20 gold coin will buy: 6 baskets full, worth nearly $2,000, almost 100 times more food, simply by owning gold dollars instead of paper dollars. History shows that the gold coins have been the best way to beat the rising cost of living. So class, the moral is that unless you want to live on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the future, you should turn some paper dollars into gold coins now. How and why is explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. Call the number below for a totally free copy. And that's the simple truth.
If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was. Help! And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
A county clerk in New Mexico is issuing marriage licenses to gay couples despite legal challenges over same-sex marriage in the state. In 2004, Donna Ana County became the first county in the state to actively issue same-sex licenses. The former attorney general declared the licenses invalid, and a court later ordered the clerk to stop. The state's current attorney general says the licenses could become invalid again if the state Supreme Court rules same-sex marriage is not allowed.
A gay activist group is accusing Hollywood of being biased against homosexual characters. The Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, or GLAAD, admits gays and lesbians are getting plenty of coverage on TV, but they want more face time on the big screen. GLAAD is upset that only 14 of the 101 films from the major Hollywood studios featured homosexuals or bisexuals last year. GLAAD's spokesman says until LGBT characters appear more regularly in these studio films, there will be appearances of bias. The group plans to meet with studio executives to discuss their findings.
The push for gay prominence in the media is nothing new. Gay activists have been using TV and movies for years to convince the American people to accept homosexuality. 10 years ago, CBN News began exposing a secret, long-term strategy to convert America into a pro-gay culture. Here is one of those groundbreaking reports from Paul Strand.
Alan Sears and his co-author Craig Austin, in a book called The Homosexual Agenda, warn about a complex and well-thought-out strategy to make America gay-friendly and hostile to those who resist. These Christian authors quote extensively from After the Ball, a 1989 gay manifesto that laid out this agenda. Many gays deny such an agenda exists.
There's no secret plan or even public plan at this point.
But the authors themselves discuss in the book a 1988 summit of gay leaders in Warrenton, Virginia, to agree on the agenda. These authors are a reportedly brilliant researcher into the brain, Marshall Kirk, and a Harvard-trained expert in public persuasion tactics, Hunter Madsen. The two proposed using on Straight America tactics remarkably similar to the brainwashing methods of Mao Zedong's Communist Chinese, mixed with Madison Avenue's most persuasive selling techniques. The purpose of this brainwashing? Quote, using the very processes that made America hate us to turn their hatred into warm regard, whether they like it or not. First, the two proposed homosexuals and their liberal allies should desensitize heterosexuals by getting homosexuality talked about as much as possible in the straight world. Quote, the main thing is talk about gayness until the issue becomes thoroughly tiresome. You can forget about trying right up front to persuade folks that homosexuality is a good thing, but if you can get them to think it is just another thing, meriting no more than a shrug of the shoulders, then your battle for legal and social rights is virtually won.
We're talking about a demand for a behavior that not only wants to not be condemned, but to have every affirmation from every possible point that it is correct, it's good, and it's approved.
Now look at the media. There's a tidal wave of gays and gay themes.
You're gay?
I'm gay.
He just doesn't seem gay.
I didn't seem gay before I came out.
Yeah, you did.
Another point Kirk and Madsen push, portray gays as victims of circumstance and oppression, not as aggressive challengers. Gays must be portrayed as victims in need of protection so that straights will be inclined by reflex to assume the role of protector.
Suddenly those who choose homosexual behavior, sodomy, are victims. It's crazy.
But have homosexuals won on getting themselves seen as a persecuted minority? Turning to the movies,
the Bible is black and white.
The wildly popular Saved portrays born-again Christians as cruel homophobes trying to reprogram poor, young, misunderstood gays in their midst. Trembling Before God is about how Orthodox and Hasidic homosexuals are persecuted and not accepted. The Conspiracy of Silence argues some gay priests are hounded to death because they can't act out their homosexuality. And the list of gay-centered, gay-sympathetic shows goes on and on. These days, some 30 regular homosexual characters are being beamed into your home by the major networks every week. As Kirk and Madsen put it, quote, the average American watches over 7 hours of TV daily. Those hours open up a gateway into the private world of straights through which a Trojan horse might be passed. Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
Up next, you've heard the phrase follow the money. Some people have done just that, and it's taken some of them to unlikely places. Hear how it's helped them save thousands of dollars.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Welcome back. If the taxes are too high where you live, you might just want to move somewhere else with lower taxes.
And that is just what many people have already done. As Heather Sells reports, that migration is creating clear winners and losers.
What is it that causes people to pick up and move? Whether it's across town or across the country. You don't usually hear taxes in the explanation, but new data shows it's all part of the equation. The IRS provided the evidence that allows us to simply follow the money.
We're talking about not a survey, not a sample, not a focus group. We're talking about actual results of people's adjusted gross income.
The data author Travis Brown cites in How Money Walks shows the incomes of 43 million Americans and where they went between 1995 and 2010.
Generally, what we find is that taxpayers over the long term are fleeing the high tax states and flocking to the low tax states.
Brown discovered that the 9 states with no personal income tax gained $146 billion in income during this period. And the states with the highest personal income tax rates, they lost $107 billion. Overall, states with the lowest state and local tax burdens brought in almost $70 billion, and those with the highest burdens took a $139 billion hit. Some of these so-called winner states, like Texas and Florida, are well known for attracting newcomers, but others could be considered more of a well-kept secret.
You might not think of Tennessee as a trendy state to move to, but that's actually what's happening. It's one of 9 states nationwide with no personal income tax and an overall low tax burden.
A lot of people are coming from the Midwest, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio. A lot of people are coming from the Northeast because that's a very expensive place to live.
Mary Jo Page directs marketing for Fairfield Glade, a retirement community perched high atop Tennessee's Cumberland Plateau. The natural beauty here makes it an easy sell, and the lower taxes help to close the deal. Karen and Dennis Shaw escaped 10 years ago from the D.C. suburbs of Northern Virginia.
When I left up there, I was paying $4,000 a year in taxes, and when I moved down here, my taxes went to $750.
Chris and Abe Seelick moved from a small house in Chicago to a beautiful retirement home in Fairfield Glade. Here they can afford extras like a new pontoon boat.
We still have a house in Chicago, 3-bedroom ranch. We pay over $9,000 taxes. On this house on a lake, we pay less than $1,400.
In fact, Tennessee joins the top 10 states that saw the greatest gains in adjusted gross income from 1995 to 2010. And the losers? States with notoriously high taxes like California, Michigan, and Illinois. James Martin, head of 60 Plus, a conservative seniors group, thinks taxes are the #1 reason that people move, although it's not always discussed.
Those states that they're moving to, sure, climate is a part of that, but that's not the real reason. It's the economic situation they find in those states.
Critics contend that tax cuts play at most a minor role in migration. They point to research that shows people move for climate, new jobs, and cheaper housing. Of course, there's plenty of folks on the ground in Fairfield Glade who would disagree.
That's probably even more important to people than what the cost of the homes are, because that's more of their long-term living expenses are the taxes here.
Brown is careful not to blame high taxes for this migration. He describes it more as a correlation and believes that policymakers should not ignore statistics that show dramatic shifts between high and low tax states.
They're not the only thing, but they do weigh in when it's time to make a lifetime decision.
For families like the Shaws, lower taxes have brought peace of mind and a little extra to spare.
We have here the home that we wanted, the land that we wanted, the amenities that we really wanted.
For all families, there's no denying that taxes affect income. Exactly how that affects where they live is debatable. But as the IRS numbers show, any community that wants to attract people should consider low taxes as a draw, just like a beautiful golf course or mountain lake. Reporting in Cumberland County, Tennessee, Heather Sells, CBN News.
When you're driving along and your cell phone rings, do your eyes instantly go off the road? Then you need to get a grip. Hi, David Jones here with the new Grip Go, the most versatile hands-free mount that will instantly grip any phone for safe driving. Just attach the suction cup to your windshield or dash, and Grip Go grabs your phone ultra fast. Then it peels right off. And don't worry, there's no sticky residue left behind. The 360-degree pivoting mount allows you to always get the perfect viewing angle. It's even strong enough to grab and hold this expensive smartphone out the window. Yet it comes right off with ease. That's the advantage of Grip Go. You can get the amazing Grip Go with dashboard mount for only $14.95. We'll send you a second kit free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Get 2 complete Grip Go systems for just $14.95.
To order Grip Go for $14.95 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-709-5259 or order online at getgripgo.com.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Finally today, CBN Superbook team is reaching audiences across the Philippines.
That's right. They've been hosting events in major shopping malls with celebrity entertainment and games. Parents and children then watch a Superbook screening, meet Gizmo, and do a sing-along of the Salvation Poem. Live broadcasts of Superbook in the Philippines reach more than 1 million viewers a week.
And that's going to do it now for CBN News Today.
We hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day.
Bye-bye, everybody.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary, or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.